Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to my Surah-by-Surah series. This is part 77, Surah Al-Mursalāt, the Emissaries, the Sent Winds. So my dear brothers and sisters, have you ever noticed how people ignore warnings until the last second? The weather says hurricane, your phone says hurricane, the news says hurricane, and someone still says, maybe it'll turn. Surah Al-Mursalāt is like a series of divine warning sirens. Allah repeats one line again and again. Woe that day to the deniers. It is a reminder that warnings are mercy before consequences arrive. So Surah Al-Mursalāt is a Meccan surah. It's with 50 verses. It focuses on the certainty of the Day of Judgment, the fate of those who deny truth, and the clear signs Allah has placed in creation. So this surah uses powerful rhythm and repetition to shake the heart awake. Oaths by the winds is covered in verses 1 through 7. Allah begins by swearing by forces of nature. The winds sent one after another, strong and scattered. These winds symbolize the order of Allah's creation and also the arrival of revelation and divine decree. And then comes the key message. What you are promised will surely occur. So in the lesson we can learn from this is the Day of Judgment is not speculation. It is a guaranteed appointment. So in today's reflection, people plan careers, vacations, and retirements decades ahead, but rarely prepare for the one event that is absolutely certain. Verses 8 through 15 talks about the collapse of the world. Allah describes the cosmic events on the last day. The stars will fade, the sky will split, the mountains will crumble, and everything humans rely on will disappear. And Allah repeats the line that defines the surah, woe that day to the deniers. So the lesson we can learn from this, repetition is intentional. Allah is giving humanity multiple chances to wake up. So the lessons from past nations is covered in verses 16 through 28. Allah reminds us of earlier peoples who rejected the truth and were destroyed. Civilizations thought they were secure, powerful, and advanced, but arrogance led to their downfall. And so today's world also believes technology and power makes it untouchable. Surah Al-Mursalāt reminds us that history repeats when arrogance replaces humility. Creation as evidence, covered in verses 20 through 23, Allah reminds humanity how we were created. From a tiny drop placed on a secure place, and human life begins fragile and dependent, yet people grow arrogant. So remembering our humble beginning cures the pride. So the faith of the righteous is covered in verses 41 through 45. After warnings comes hope. The righteous will live in shades, gardens, and peace. Their patience and prayer and sincerity will be rewarded with eternal comfort. In verses 48 through 50, talks about the final challenge. The surah ends with a piercing question. If they do not believe in this message, then in what statement will they believe? So if the Quran does not awaken the heart, nothing else will. So the lessons we can learn from Surah Al-Mursalāt is Judgment Day is inevitable. Warnings are acts of mercy. History teaches humility, human creation proves divine power, and the Quran is the final reminder. To my dawah, for my non-Muslims, this surah asks humanity to reflect. If the universe has order, purpose, and balance, why assume life ends without accountability? Islam offers the clearest explanation for justice beyond this world. To Muslims, don't ignore reminders. The Quran repeats warnings because Allah wants us to succeed. So in my closing, Surah Al-Mursalāt feels like waves hitting the shore again and again and again. Each verse is another call, wake up. reflect, return. Because when the day finally arrives, warnings will stop. And that's when reality will begin.